So it's crazy, how powerful Spanish is. But and that was one of the things why I started the podcast, because when I first started, I felt almost like I told my parents, like, I can't believe that when I was little, I told you I don't want to eat beans and rice anymore. I want to eat cheeseburgers and spaghetti, and I want to be American. And that was my thing. Like I was like, I was
Vas
in
a
that.
comer frijoles. Hay frijoles en la casa.
But you know what it was? It was just me
I get you.
closing the that gap. Like, I don't want to be Mexico. We're not in Mexico anymore. And it's like, oh my God, I fucking hated myself. I hated everything that I was. I hated everything that my parents were. As I grew up, I realized that, and I was like, nah, man, this can't be it. And it had to do
Uh,
yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm like, so I met Danny 2 years ago. But this is the first time I'm hearing this, man. And wow, that's some powerful stuff. Because I come from a different background. But continue, Danny. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but I think, like, even my neighborhood around me, we never saw Mexican flags out like how we saw, American flags. And I understand. I think I was telling my wife, we were hiding in plain sight. And to some extent, when I started like the podcast, number one, I wanted something that, all right, like, I gotta get in where you fit in, and something that can grow. And I was noticing for the first part, Liga MX is all Spanish speaking. You look up Liga MX, and it's like a bunch of YouTube videos of just like Spanish speaking channels or whatever. And I was like,
Wow.
all right, there's a market here. They get 200,000 views, they get 300,000 views, whatever. There's a market. But for the second one, I was like, and I get to like kind of talk about my background, about like thing, and learn about like cultures in Mexico that maybe I didn't know about. Like, I think, and that was one of the things that my parents growing up, they didn't really talk to us about, just because we were so closed off from the world, because we were always scared of being deported, or like, my parents had their visa since like 1992, and they were scared still in 2001. They were just like, nah, they could take this away from us. You don't know that. um
Oh,
yeah, so I think to a certain extent they like closed me off from ever being that full capable
Mm.
Mexican, or like even understanding that we came from empires and we came from mathematicians, and they're the closest what is it called, pyramid is actually in Ciudad de Mexico. It's not in Egypt,
Teotihuacan. Yep.
so we forget that we have one of the marvels of the world in Mexico. There's rich culture in Mexico, and then not only that, there's like rich dialogue. Like, you're talking about, you go to Ciudad Mexico, and it's completely different than going to Monterrey, than going to
hmm
Guadalajara, than going to
Veracruz.
hmm
Veracruz.
Yep.
There's rich culture. But you ask somebody like, hey, where are you from? Oh, my parents are from this place. Oh, like, how do you like it out there? I don't know, I've never been. It's
Mm.
crazy to me, man. Like, we've been completely closed off from our own birthplace, to for but it's just, it was crazy to me, and that's really why I started the podcast. I really wanted to just talk about something in Mexico and make it important, because I feel there's that disconnect in
with
kids
a
now.
lot of people.
Yeah. Like, I always hate, and I'm a coach too. I'm a soccer coach. So I have those kids that will root for the United States just because of the colmillo that they have for their parents, just to talk shit.
Just to
And
make
I'm
him,
just
yeah,
like,
make him mad.
bro, it's not about that,
Yeah.
man. Like, I think you gotta understand what Mexico really is to really root for them. And I think as the years went by, I kind of learned that.
That's
Sorry, I kind
crazy.
of just went on a
No,
rant.
no, that's
Ah,
fine.
man. Welcome
No,
to Danny.
and that's
Welcome to
fine,
Danny's
man.
rant.
It's
I'm just kidding. No, no, go ahead.
yeah.
No, you're good, bro. You're good.
No,
Go ahead, Johnny.
you learn something. You learn something new every day because we weren't like that. My family, proud to be Mexican. We would go to TJ every month. My mom would send us down there every 2 weeks. My family's originally from Guadalajara. I still
Mm.
have family over there, but my grandparents brought them to Tijuana, and I grew up walking in the mercados, and it after my grandma passed away in 12 years ago, whatever that is. Um, 12 years ago was the last time that I went to TJ, up to last year when I went to go see Chivas versus Tijuana.
Mhm.
And when we were driving in, I was telling, you'll meet him one day. Juvie, I was like, look, dude, that's the indoor soccer field that I always wanted to play, and it's still there. And I was telling him streets, and this is where this happened, this is where that happened. And it wasn't like that for me. My first language was Spanish. Like it was drilled in us by my mom. Believe me, if I would have said I don't want to eat rice and beans, it was like, then you're not eating at all.
No, no vas a tragar.
No, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah, right.
what my parents told me, but
No,
yeah.
no, yeah, 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 no.